Hi everyone, this is Dr. Mamta Chava and I welcome you all to yet another episode of the series Case Files in Clinical Microbiology, and the question goes like this. A 45-year-old neutropenic cancer patient presents with fever, dyspnea and hemoptysis. Imaging studies reveal cavitary lung lesions and are strongly suggestive of angioinvasive disease. Elevated galactomannan levels are found in serum and bronchoalveolar lavage fluid. What is the etiology of this man's disease? The options are Aspergillus fumigatus, Candida glabrata, Klebsiella pneumoniae, and Mycobacterium tuberculosis. So, what do you think the answer should be amongst all these options? The answer is option A, that is Aspergillus fumigatus. Now, let me go back to the question and we'll see how to rule out different options. Now, guys, it's a neutropenic cancer patient, and cancer patients who are on therapy, they are prone to develop neutropenia, and this neutropenia, remember, predisposes them to infection by different varieties of microbial agents, and fungal infections are pretty common in such patients. All right. So, amongst all the options provided to us, the members of genus Candida are very, very notorious in causing infection in such patients. But remember, Candida glabrata, which is option B in this case, is not angioinvasive. Whereas the second line of our question itself mentions that the imaging studies are strongly suggestive of angioinvasive disease. So, just on the basis of the fact that Candida members of the genus Candida are not angioinvasive, you can safely rule out Candida glabrata. Now, I'll tell you another extra edge point about Candida glabrata. Remember, its old name was Torulopsis glabrata, and it does not produce pseudohyphae. All right. We categorize, Candida fungi into the broad category of yeast-like fungi. All right. Yeast-like fungi are those which reproduce by budding, plus they produce pseudohyphae. On the other hand, the fungi which we refer to as true yeasts, for instance, Cryptococcus neoformans, which is the pathogenic yeast, and Saccharomyces cerevisiae, which is the non-pathogenic yeast, also known as Baker's yeast. These are true yeast in the sense that they reproduce only by budding. They do not produce pseudohyphae. All right. Now, Candida glabrata is an exception, guys. It does not form pseudohyphae, so it is referred to as a true yeast. All right. And remember, the all the members of the genus Candida are not angioinvasive, and on this basis, we have ruled out option B. All right. Now, as far as the other options are concerned, now Aspergillus fumigatus, Klebsiella pneumoniae, Mycobacterium tuberculosis, all these three causes can cause fever, dyspnea, hemoptysis. But remember, the biggest hint in this question is the penultimate line in the question, that is, elevated galactomannan levels were found in the serum and bronchoalveolar lavage. Now, guys, based on this, we can easily rule out options C and D, because galactomannan is what? It's a polysaccharide component present in the cell wall of certain fungi. For instance, certain members of genus Aspergillus, and option A, that is Aspergillus fumigatus, therefore is the answer in this particular question. All right. Now, the question says that the imaging studies were strongly suggestive of angioinvasive disease. I will tell you two important fungi in the entire mycology, which you should remember as causative agents of angioinvasive disease. Angio means blood vessel, invasive means invasion. So, angioinvasive disease is caused by members of the genus Aspergillus and by members belonging to the class Zygomycetes. The members of Zygomycetes class is also known as Phycomycetes. All right. The important members belonging to Zygomycetes class are Rhizopus, Absidia, and Mucor. Now, guys, just like God, Aspergillus fungi are, omnipresent, just like God. Meaning to say that they are, saprophytes in the environment, and there are more than 200 species of genus Aspergillus. But from a medical point of view, you just need to remember at least, three medically important species. That is Aspergillus fumigatus, Aspergillus flavus, and Aspergillus niger. All right. Now, for the sake of this very clinical vignette, I want all of you to imprint in your minds this particular picture as far as the pulmonary disease by Aspergillus fungi is concerned. All right. Now, I was telling you the name of three important species which you need to remember: Fumigatus, Flavus, and Niger. Now, remember, amongst all these three, it is Fumigatus which is furious. Fumi is furious. What do I mean to say? I mean to imply that fumigators is the most common species causing human disease. So, guys, remember, even these microorganisms are not devoid of emotions, and the emotion I'm talking about over here is that of anger or fury. So, remember, furious is whom? Furious is fumigators. It is so furious with mankind that it is, it is referred to as the most common species of genus Aspergillus causing human infection. So that's one. Now, as far as the pulmonary infections by members of genus Aspergillus is concerned, remember this cartoon, and we'll go clockwise over here. At the top, we have got what is known as allergic bronchopulmonary aspergillosis, that is ABPA. Now, remember, this clinical entity is common in asthmatics, cystic fibrosis patients, and it is characterized by central bronchiectasis along with eosinophilia and elevated IgE levels against the specific species of genus Aspergillus, which is responsible for ABPA. All right. So these are the clinchers about ABPA. Remember all these points because you can expect a clinical vignette in which all these points could be given to you as hints. Okay. Now um, going clockwise, next we have invasive pulmonary aspergillosis. Now, guys, this is the kind of disease which we have discussed in today's clinical vignette. The patient, the neutropenic cancer patient, which we just discussed, is in fact a patient of invasive pulmonary aspergillosis. All right. Now, these patients are usually those who are immunocompromised, like our patient was. Then, neutropenia is a predisposing factor. Remember, neutropenia is a risk factor or a predisposing factor for two very important fungal infections, namely Aspergillus and Candida. All right. Now, over here, I want to highlight another important point, which is whenever we say HIV infected patients, guys, we tend to think that HIV patients they are they are susceptible to every and any kind of infection. But remember, Aspergillus is one fungal infection which is actually rare in HIV patients. You know why? Because in case of Aspergillus fungi, it has been observed that neutrophils are the most important soldiers of our immune system, which are responsible for immunity against Aspergillus. And neutrophil count remains normal until the very late stages of HIV infection. All right. On the other hand, in case of Candida, apart from neutrophils, the T cells also are pretty important members responsible for imparting immunity. All right. So Candida infections are very common in HIV patients. Okay. So this is a frequent doubt asked by the students. So I have clarified that over here. All right. Then what else you need to remember in the context of invasive pulmonary aspergillosis? Certain important radiological signs which you read in radiology, for instance, halo sign and air crescent sign. And also remember, diffuse pulmonary infiltrates are seen. Then we have got what is known as aspergilloma or fungal ball, which is nothing but a non-invasive colonization of a lung cavity by certain member of the genus Aspergillus. All right. Now, two important causes of cavity formation in the lungs, especially in our country, are tuberculosis and cancer. Okay. So what will happen if some cavity is present in the lungs, for instance, as I've drawn over here, it is prone or vulnerable to be invaded by any Aspergillus species, and this kind of colonization is non-invasive. Now, guys, there's a reason why I have drawn this this over here, what do I say, Guchar, in blue color. What I was trying to emphasize over here is, remember, all fungi are gram positive, so they take up the positively blue color on gram stain. But remember, the molds or the filamentous fungi, they are weakly gram positive. They're not going to take up gram stain that well as compared to yeast or yeast-like fungi. Okay, so these are the important points which I wanted to discuss with all of you as far as this session is concerned. All right. Do let me know in the comment section what you thought of this video. And I'll soon come up with the next episode of this series. If you like the video, please share it with your friends. Hit the like button and also subscribe to the channel. and study well. All the very best to all of you for the upcoming exams. Thank you.